All right, what is going on, guys? We've got two Monday Night Football games tonight, so we are getting a gift. So I'm going to walk you guys through the games, give you my best bets, and as always, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. It's free. All right, let's get into yesterday's recap real quick. So gave out some of the plays, and we ended up hitting Matt Stafford over 215.5. I think he finished at like 222. Connor under 60.5, very sweat-free. Stroud over 6.5 rushing yards, 12, 13 range, something like that. So easily hit that. And then we missed on the Carr and Mayfield touchdowns. That was just bad. Mayfield and the Bucks were terrible. Anytime TDs, we went 3-2 so far, but we have one more left tonight. So we're either going to go 3-3 or we're going to go 4-2. I feel like it's going to be 4-2. I think we have Etienne touchdown tonight. All right, let's jump right in. So first game here, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Buffalo Bills. Jacksonville 0-2, lost to the Dolphins and the Browns. And we've got the Buffalo Bills, who are 2-0, who beat the Arizona Cardinals and the Miami Dolphins. Game time's at 7:30. Weather's looking really good. I think it's going to be 68, partly cloudy, low winds, so pretty optimal football weather if you ask me. Let's jump into this. So Josh Allen, 3-5 on Monday Night Football. That one actually surprised me. I thought he'd have a better record, so a little bit concerning there. We look at Josh Allen. It's been a very run-heavy offense, which is pretty surprising. 232 yards passing in Week 1, only 139 in Week 2. They just really didn't have the ball a lot, and they didn't need to. They just ran a ton. Little concerning is the run game for Jacksonville. Etienne only 48 yards a game. A little concerning. Only averaging less than 13 attempts a game. So definitely got to get that run game going. Sub 4 yards per carry. But he does have two touchdowns. You know, receiving yards a game. He's getting about 2.5 receptions a game. About 4 targets. So he is kind of helping in the receiving game. We look at James Cook. He's been on fire. 74.5 yards average through 2 games, about 15 attempts a game, about 5 yards a carry. So he's been very efficient with the ball, and he has been scoring some TDs. I think he had, 3 touchdowns in the last game, so absolutely killing it. About 25 yards a game receiving, and that's only on about 2 targets a game. So he's been doing a hell of a job this year. We look at let's see, Trevor Lawrence just absolutely been trash. I mean, they got to find an identity. They have not been good offensively, so it's going to be really important for them tonight to come out and try to do something against this Buffalo Bills defense. 5.5 spread does seem a little light in Buffalo. I'm not going to lie. It's almost a scary number. I thought this would be 7.5. So 5.5 does kind of strike me as odd, especially when we look at the Jacks D. I mean, the secondary has given up big plays. I think they've given up 3 30-plus yards plays already through 2 weeks, so a lot of concern about that secondary. Giving up 349 total yards a game. That is almost dead last in the league. That said, Bills, they're giving up some points as well, so 19 points a game allowed for both teams. My concern is the Jaguars aren't blitzing. Like, they are one of the least blitzing teams, and they have a vulnerable secondary that just doesn't spell success, in my opinion. So they're going to have to try to blitz. They're going to have to try to slow Allen down. I just don't see a lot of hope in this one. I mean, I got the Bills easy at -5.5. Like I said, though, it's a little scary. Jacksonville has Evan Ingram out. It feels too light, like weirdly light. But give me the Bills -5.5. I mean, I've kind of gone back and forth on this a lot, and I'm not seeing an angle here to where I feel comfortable taking Jacksonville. I don't trust their defense. Frankly, don't trust Trevor Lawrence whatsoever. He just tends to make bad decisions, and when he gets blitz, he gets sacked. He is not avoiding the sack whatsoever. So I have trouble trusting him. He's gonna have to prove it. All right, next game, Washington and the Bengals. Washington 1-1, Bengals 0-2. That last game, a little suspect against the Chiefs. There was a PI call that kind of won them the game, but on that play, there was also a holding call that got missed. I mean, if you're a Bengals person, you feel a little slighted with all the Chiefs calls that they've been getting over the years. Little conspiracy theory there going, but it is what it is. Bengals need to bounce back here after this 0-2 start. Washington, pretty good. I mean, really, I've been pretty cool watching them. Jaden Daniels is doing all right. I mean, they're getting it done through the rushing game, 176 yards a game. Cincinnati's rush game is just non-existent, right? They kind of had hopes. They got rid of Mixon. thinking bringing in Zach Moss was going to reignite the run game. I'm not sure why they thought that, but they did. That hasn't really panned out in their favor so far. So they really are going to have to get the run game going tonight. Commanders allowing 121 yards a game rushing, so about middle of the pack. They're 16th in rushing yards allowed. So I think we got to see that step up tonight. I think the big thing for the Bengals will be getting T. Higgins back. Mike Gesicki has really stepped it up the past 2 weeks. He's done really well, averaging almost 55 yards a game. But yeah, I think having T. Higgins back is going to be huge. We'll just have to see if he's kind of vibing with Burrow or not. We've kind of seen that through the first 2 weeks with Jamar Chase. With his contract issues, they haven't been on the same page. So I think this week, heading into week 3, they should be vibing on the same page, and you've got T. Higgins back. So it's going to open up opportunities for Chase or Higgins. If not, you still got Gesicki. Iosivas has been just came out of nowhere and has done pretty damn good. So he had a couple of TDs that he caught. So yeah, I think offensively should be good. It's just, can they get Moss and Brown going at the running back position? I think they're going to have to try to force the run game a little bit. Defensively, Commanders giving up about 228 yards of passing, so they are susceptible to the pass. We're just going to have to see a good mix. On the other side of the ball, the Bengals kind of been their MO for a few years now, but they're very vulnerable to the rush, giving up 160 yards a game. That's 26th in the NFL. But they've been extremely good against the pass, only averaging 129 yards through the first 2 games. So I think they're going to have to place emphasis on the rush, right? We've kind of got the inverse, a team that likes to run going up against a team that's not great at stopping the run. So I think we know the game plan. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what the plan is here. Let's see. If we look at Washington, like I said, 16th in rushing yards allowed. So pretty straightforward there. I think T. Higgins, like I said, is going to be a huge weapon for the Bengals coming back tonight. Obviously, last year they had Higgins, they had Tyler Boyd, they had Jamar, so they had this kind of 3-headed monster. Boyd's now in Tennessee. Congrats to him on the touchdown yesterday. That was pretty cool. Best bet for me, playing in the jungle at Paycor Stadium on Monday night. Yeah, I'm going Bengals plus 7.5. I think they can stop this run, force Jaden Daniels to throw the ball. His pass completion line's only at 19.5, and he's favored to go under. Attempt line is at 29.5, and he's favored to go under that too. So I just don't think they're going to be able to compete with this high-powered Bengals offense. We haven't seen it yet, but just the gut feeling says we should see it tonight. So give me the Bengals plus 7.5 as my best bet, and then Zach Moss over 12.5 rush attempts. All right, let's get into best bets here. So first best bet is going to be Josh Allen over 31.5 rushing yards. He's over this in 4 of his last 5 games, 6 of his last 10 games. I think if they do try to blitz him, which they will have to try to blitz him, he'll just scramble and rush. So I like him to go over that mark. Ray Davis for the Bills, over 16.5 rushing yards. He's over in 1 of 2 games, had 29 yards in the last game versus Miami. I think Cook will have a very good game. I didn't put him on here just because I felt like everyone under the sun was probably going to have him. So try to think of some other things on there. So I like Ray Davis. I think that's kind of a sleeper pick right there. And then give me Brian Robinson over 55.5 rushing yards, 133 yards in his last game versus the Giants. We know the Bengals are susceptible to the rush. Washington is not going to just abandon the rush. I could see Robinson breaking off a couple of 14, 15-yard runs here, but I do think they're going to be playing from behind, so there is that to think about. And then give me T. Higgins over 44.5 receiving yards. I think there's going to be a heavy focus on Jamar Chase. If Higgins maybe catches a couple, they focus on him. You still got Gesicki, who's been catching a lot of balls, so I do think Higgins will get a couple balls here. I could see him catching a deep one for 20, 30 yards potentially. But like I said, first game of the season, you never know. They got to develop that timing. So might not be there. So definitely the riskier play here. And then Zach Moss over 12.5 rush attempts, which we already talked about. It's 12.5 on FanDuel at minus 140. Every other book has it at 13.5. So if you do have FanDuel, I would recommend doing it there. Like I said, you are paying a little juice at minus 140, but highly favored to go over. 9 attempts in week 1. They really worked Chase Brown in a little bit more. And we're starting to see Zach Moss kind of move into that RB1 role, which I had said, I think in the week 1 video that was probably going to happen at some point. And then he had 12 attempts last week. So I do like the Bengals to get up and start running the ball in the second half. Anytime TDs I like. Josh Allen, always a fan favorite there. It is at minus 140. A little sketchy. He had 2 against Arizona. Didn't have any last week. So if you want to, I think you can kind of interchange Allen and Cook, whichever one you feel like is going to get a TD. Travis Etienne for Jacksonville, 100% hit rate against Buffalo. So I'll take my chances on that. 60% in the last 5 games. If they have any chance of winning, they've got to better utilize him. So I like him to be very active tonight. Jaden Daniels for the Commanders, plus 145. He had 2 touchdowns versus Tampa Bay, none last week. So just a system play. I think he scores this week. And then Zach Moss for the Bengals to score a touchdown at minus 110. Probably my favorite one, actually. This is minus 150 on FanDuel, minus 155 on Fanatics. You can get it for minus 110 on DraftKings. I guarantee it won't be minus 110 for very long. So this is one already snapped up on. I really, really like this anytime touchdown bet with Moss. So I'll probably hit this, and then if they do the live touchdown boost, which DraftKings sometimes does, I'll just hit it as soon as the game starts as well. So I'll probably double barrel this one. All right, that is going to do it for me. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next video.